Get that information. Here's the pieces I want. People, I don't know anything about software. I have to promise you that. I'm lucky to be able to hit delete. But I do know a lot about what it does. I'm old enough to figure that one out. People ask me, how do you set up your database? How do you set up your screens? And I'm saying, okay, I'll give you real high rough. You know where the contact screen is? The upper half is demographic data, name, address, phone number, etc. Bottom half of that screen is what? Psychographic data, right? What's your admin's name, what's your nightline, what's your cell phone, all that stuff you need close at hand, but you don't need it right up there with the name, address, and phone number. So I always tell people when you're creating and putting stuff into your database, split that field, and the first field down in the second half of the column, the first field, whatever that is, blank it. And the second field and the third field. And here's what you replace them with. On the first field, underneath the demographic data, just put the word pain. And on the second field, put passion. And on the third field, put preferences. And here's why. Because those are three, perhaps, the most critical components to nourishing a relationship with the human mind and the soul. First of all, pain. What keeps this one awake at night about their business? I don't know. They do. And people love to talk about themselves, especially about their fears and their pains. It's just conversation. What keeps you awake at night about your industry? I know what it is in ours. And just listen, and they'll tell you. They'll say offshore competition, federal regulations, who knows? Price competition, I don't know what it is. I don't know, they know, they'll tell me. Write it down in the pain column. Why? I'll tell you why. I got Google, or Yahoo, or LexisNexis, or any of the great search engines out there. Just think if I ask you about passion, I say, tell me what you do for hobby. That's an easy conversation over a beer. What do you do for a hobby? Listen carefully. You're right in the heart of the human. If they say golf, listen to the tone. It sounds like God. They'll say that, that 16th hole at Pinehurst, I have a clue what a Pinehurst is. That's a tree. Write it down. Golf nut. Why? If I want to contact them and I don't want to seem like I'm selling every minute that I've mentioned to them, what if I just go into Google and I put down, give me the 100 most difficult golf course holes in the world? Do you know it comes up about that quick? So how about just sending that? See, I saw this today when I was online, and it reminded me about how much fun you have playing those tough holes. Hope things are going well. Got it? Free content. That internet, Google is so loaded with valuable content to nurture with. The nourishment is just astounding how much there is there once you start thinking about who it is you're going to be feeding. You can't give everything you know to everybody you know. So, pain. What keeps them awake at night? Just think about that. If they're saying federal regulators, and they're in the coal industry, or whatever industry they're in, just do an English language Google search. Offshore regulations affecting the pineapple industry. Look at what you'll find. I don't have to cure it. All I have to do is empathize. I see the pain, I feel the pain, and I remember you as a person with pain. That's all. It's more of the dimension than just somebody whose check clears the bank when I sell them something. I know you as a person. I know you as a friend. You're a client. You're a lifer. That's what we want. That's what we all want. You know what De Beers believes? The first ad De Beers ever ran when they ran the diamonds, first time De Beers ran a diamond ad in the United States on television, you know what the headline was? Black and white, which it ought to be with a diamond. They said, if you don't know diamonds, you better have a real good friend in the jewelry business, because you can get hurt out there. That was the first commercial they ever ran. You can get hurt out there. You bet you can get hurt out there. In a hurry. Now interact. Now set up a drip irrigation garden so that you can do other things that need to be done urgently, and those mundane things of nourishing and feeding and educating and cultivating, appreciating, acknowledging, all of that is there. And this is what I think when I think of Infusionsoft. I think of a drip irrigation garden. I promise you, on that farm I grew up on, we had no hoses, much less drip. I was the dripper. Buckets, and a crick, and a gourd. All right. I have created something, I'm feeling pretty happy about this, because rather than extolling you to do more sales, stranger sales, prospecting, if you will, I would like to leave you with the thought that the endowment of your future lies in your customer base, not in your prospect base. And so what I would have done is created a 12-month drip campaign based on all of the science that the University of Washington and Stanford gave us on what the tolerance was for at the business level, what the tolerance for frequency was, what the tolerance of content was, all of this information. And so we used that research from that 12-year study to create a campaign, and it's called the Nurture Solution. And I've got it over in the experts, so we don't have to talk about it now, but it literally is a stay-in-touch campaign. Is it? No. It's a template. Every one of the letters are written, the enclosures, the lumpies, all of the stuff is all in there. You can modify it to make it your words. You don't have to sign them all, Jim. Anybody know about lumpy mail? Do you know when I was interviewing these CEOs, the research showed that lumpy mail got opened in a 94 percentile basis, first out of the pile. Lumpy mail. That came up early in '92. First time I heard a group saying, how did they get to you anyhow? And they started talking about lumpy mail. Well, it's been around a long time. Do you know that? Lumpy mail's been around 3 decades. It's dimensional mail is what they're really talking about. It's something to create curiosity, to say, what the heck is that? And to force you to open the envelope. There's a whole thing to it. But one of the things that this research showed out was that lumpies really are that powerful. They get open first, almost invariably, at the sea level. But the thing is, though, the lumpy has to have an intelligent, metaphorical reason for causing that lump. If not, you tricked them. It's like a fake pay to the order of check. Remember that one? Junk immediately. So read up on lumpy mail, especially for those of you who are interested in prospecting. Because here's the truth. Over 90%, at the sea level, over 90% of unsolicited emails from people you do not know are deleted unopened. This is not new. This is getting worse. And so the whole key to this thing, the whole key to this is to figure out who it is you want to influence. And because you've got this incredible technology now, you can measure, you can manage. You don't have to do 5,000. You can do 50 and test to see what kind of results you get after 5 waterings or 10 feedings. But here's the key about prospecting. Seth Godin, who I mentioned before, anyone read Permission Marketing? Raise your hands. Please, please, please go to Amazon, buy it. It's used. You can buy it used for $3, I think. I think the most significant book in the world written because of this software. We really got to get this right because we're going one-to-one, human. Boy, that's a sensitive organism. This is not just a row of corn. They may be all human, but boy, they are different in reactions. So the fourth I said it was identify, individualize, interact, and then influence. Influence essentially is the summation of identify, individualize, and interact. If you were looking for a formula to take home with you and say, this is what we're doing, this is what we bought, this is what we're doing. We're running this thing like a farm. We're deciding what crops we want to harvest and when, and have the intelligence and the patience to wait and to feed and to water and to have the patience and the persistence and the professionalism to be there when it's ready to harvest, to earn the harvest, rather than just be low-hanging fruit pursuers. I told you about the third book. I am so happy with this one, I can't tell you. I made an ebook out of it. It's just getting too hard to get paper into people's hands. It's called 101 of the Best Business Love Letters I've Ever Received, or anyone has ever shared with me received. Now, what's a business love letter? Thank you, right? And so those books are over also and you can take a look at those. So I want to wrap this up because my clock is going to zeros. I never had a timer that big before in my life. I'm very inspired. I would like to offer you that 101 A Cure for the Common Cold call. If you'd like to have that, all you got to do is go to nurtureinstitute.com and click on Jim's book. You'll get it back, no sales, no call. It comes in on an email as an ebook. So God bless Scott's Fertilizer and Miracle-Gro. And I think it's such a great metaphor for what we're talking about doing. You know, it's never too late to put a little Miracle-Gro in your garden. Anybody here ever used Miracle-Gro on their own plants? Show me. Show hands. Is there a difference? Double your growth? Isn't that their ad? I get it. I get it. So that's the package I created for you, and I'd love to show it to you. In fact, they're passing out a handout on it now, because the important thing I wanted to leave you with is this, that I am not the technologist. I'm the content provider. I probably know more writers, I guess, than I ever dreamed I wanted to know. We have the Nurture Writers Guild now that we've developed over the last 5 years. So we have highly skilled writers for people that want to do campaigns and just simply don't have the bandwidth or the time or the people or the staff on. So that's my role. I'm content guy. The rest of this is technology, and I can't imagine operating either one without both. I'll close with a thought. My heroes have always been communicators. I was born just before the Second World War, and my father was a patriot, and he put all of his boys in the military, and he got us all together around an old Crosley radio every night to listen to the news, and I heard every speech that Winston Churchill ever made. He's a hero. He's a hero. He's a giant. Reagan, giant, changed our world. You know, I mean, I keep thinking of these great, great communicators. Kennedy was a great communicator. Martin Luther King was a great communicator. But my hero has always been, and I want to leave you with this story. Mahatma Gandhi has always been my hero. If you measure a person by what they have accomplished in life, you must honor this man. He freed one of the second largest country on the planet, freed them from the cruelest form of slavery known to man, and freed that country from colonialism without ever firing a single shot. Not one person ever injured. Think of that, except him. They invited Gandhi back to give the farewell address of the first freely elected parliament in the history of the world of that country. And this poor old frail man died 3 days later, assassinated by someone. Gandhi stood in this homespun robe and those rope sandals, wire glasses, and he looked at this august body and he said, "I can teach you no more." It's his opening line. He said, "We now know the way." But he said, "Keep your thoughts," and thank you again, Clayton, for giving me this close, because this was Gandhi's words. He said, "Keep your thoughts positive, because your thoughts become words." And he said, "Keep your words positive, because your words become acts." And he said, "Keep your acts positive, because your acts become your values." And he said, "Keep your values positive, because your values become your destiny." Gandhi said that. He said, I never heard this from ever before until I heard him say it. There is no dress rehearsal in this life. He said, this is a day that God has given us. And in the passion of what we believe and our power and willingness to communicate, we can change the world again. And I think that's what this is about today. We are in the early nascent stage of a revolution in small business success. And I am so proud, so excited to get to share this day with you and with this great team from Infusion. Thank you all very much.